Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. In this topic, we will be covering MySQL, SQL and Intext question 23.2. So before that, I would like you to subscribe to the channel and give a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Also, if you're new here, it's all about NIOS computer science chapters included here for the public exam. Okay, so you can also check out the English topic here and some of the previous year questions too. Okay, let's jump into the topic. So our topic number 1 is MySQL. So we have already covered the database basics, database what is DBMS and what is a database and the basic things included in that. So now we are going to learn about MySQL. So what is this MySQL? You might have heard the word MySQL and SQL many times, but there is a difference between all these things. What are they? SQL and MySQL look similar, but they are not same. Okay, so this, if you say MySQL, it is an RDBMS software, or you can say a software where you can write the SQL queries. Okay, before that you have to know what is an SQL, what is a MySQL. Okay, so just for time being, you have to know what is MySQL. It's a software. Okay, like MySQL, you have other software available. Examples are Oracle, MS SQL Server, PostgreSQL. Okay, so using this all softwares, you can write the queries to get some information from your database. Okay, and you will be using the language SQL. So this SQL stands for Structured Query Language. Okay, just to explain, we will go to the whiteboard. You have got two names. One is MySQL, another one is SQL. If you say what is SQL, it is Structured Query Language. Okay, it's a language like we use our English, Hindi, Malayalam, Marathi, Bengali, like these all language. Structured query language is a kind of language that your database understands. Okay, so when you want to communicate with your database, for example, user is there and user wants to communicate with the database. In such case, you have to use SQL because this database doesn't understand Hindi or English or any other language, common language that we use. So for that, you have to write the queries in the language which database understands, that is SQL. Okay, so what this SQL is and how it is written, that we will learn later. And you also have to know that this SQL can be written in some software known as MySQL, Oracle, then SQL Server, then you have got PostgreSQL. That example we have seen in the last page. Okay, so this is the basic difference between MySQL and SQL. Okay, now let's go to the chapter and see in detail what they are. Now here some steps are written for downloading this MySQL software. It is an open source free software. That means you can download it freely. Open source is available to all and you don't have to pay anything for it. Okay, now you can install it. Some steps are given. Please go through all these and install MySQL. It's for practical purpose and it's for you to write the queries in that. Instead, I will tell you another one method where you can write your queries easily. Okay, if it is a must, please do it. Read the steps from here and do it. Next one, these are all the steps involved in that. Now we are going to learn about structured query language or SQL. This is also known as SQL. Usually if you would have heard SQL from anybody's mouth, that means it is structured query language. This is the way it is pronounced sometimes. Okay. So after installing MySQL, you are ready to use it. So that those steps will help you to install MySQL, where you can create your own tables, database, and you can retrieve the information, and you have to write these queries there. Okay. To do all this, we have to use a language called structure query language. It's a language, as I have told you earlier. Let's read. SQL is a language specifically oriented around relational database. So where we are going to use this language, it is used for relational database. It is used in this case. Okay, it's a non-procedural language. Doesn't follow a procedure like your C. It is not of that kind. Okay, it requires you to specify what is to be done as opposed to how to do it. You are not supposed to tell what are the steps to be followed to do that process. You have to just tell what is to be done. So you will understand after writing the queries what is the difference between your C and C++. So already C++ we have seen. So we will be doing the how the language, how the things are being done. Okay, so just specifically you have to do the things to get the result. Okay. SQL offers us various commands using which you can create and manage your relational database. So we have got so many things to manage this relational database using your SQL. Okay, it helps us to create and manage the relational database. Now, if you see structured query language, it is divided into different type of language. Okay, so first one is data definition language. Next one is data manipulation language, and then one more is their data control language. These are not used very often, but sometimes when you want to have the usage, this will be used. But basically these are the things involved in creating the tables and then managing the data. So specifically if you say, these are used to work with the structure of your table. Okay, structure of table database, it deals with your structure. So that means data definition language, or you can call it as DDL. That is the short form of that, DDL. Next one is data manipulation language. Data manipulation language is used to work with the data available inside your table. Okay. Next is data control language. This is used to work with your rights, permission, controls of your database. Okay, so example, if you say this example will be using the grant, revoke, these are the examples of DCL. So if you see data definition language, the thing is it uses the commands to create, modify and remove the objects. What do you understand by objects of database? So database is there, how to create a database, how to change the structure of the database, if you want to change the number of columns in the database or the table, so how you do that. Inside the database you are given with tables. Okay, so database is the first thing. A database can contain more than one table. Okay, so just to understand, we will go back to your whiteboard. First, the steps involved are database. Inside database you will be having tables. Consider I have table 1, I have table 2 available. Okay, so many tables are there. So what this DDL does, that is data definition language, what it do, it helps us to create a database. It helps us to create a table inside a database, another table inside a database. For example, this table 1 has only 2 columns. Okay, at the starting when you created it, and later you want to add one more column to it. so that you can do you in the same DDL. Yeah, like we can use the DDL to change the structure of your table. Okay, and for example, if you felt like you have three rows, three columns in your table 2, then you felt like I need only one table after a point of time. Okay, in that case you have to change the structure of the table. Now before it had three columns, now you need only column 1, column 2, column 3. Now you need only one column, so you need to change this structure without these columns. In that case you have to use alter. So this alter statement comes under DDL. Okay, then at some point of time you need not use this table at all, and you want to delete everything. Okay, so in that case also you can delete table, and again that comes under DDL. Why these are known as data definition? It changes the skeleton or the structure of your table and database. Okay, so these examples comes under your DDL. Next one is DML. So what is DML? Data manipulation language. For example, you have got a table already. This is created using your DDL, create table. Okay, now this is an example. You have got roll number, name of the student, which grade he is in, first grade, second grade. Then you have got age of the child. Okay, so this DML works with the data. This table is already there using the DDL. You are not going to create it using DML. DDL you have used and created this table. Now you want to fill the rows of this table. So I want to fill the first row as roll number 1. The name of the student is Akash. And then I want to fill it as grade 1. And then I want to fill it as maybe 6 years. Okay. So this is the data. So I have to do this or fill this row using DML known as insert. So insert is the statement for filling this rows. This is row number 1. Second row, when I want to fill like roll number 2, and Robin is the name of the kid, and he is in 3rd grade, and he may be 8 or 9. So in that case, again I'm going to use insert. So the insert statement is a DML. Okay, so now you think all the data are filled here. Okay, all the rows are filled with some information, 3 4 5. Okay, so these all rows are filled with information. Now in some cases, after a year the age of the child increases and it becomes 9, and this grade also changes, so I have to make a change here. Okay, so I don't want this as 3, I want it as 4, and I have to change it as 9. In such case I will be updating the data, and that statement is known as update statement. It has got a syntax to write that I will be showing you later. Okay, so that is what this update helps in. Next one, for like a child takes TC from the school and he goes to some other school. So in that case you want to delete his information totally from this row. Okay, I don't want this particular column, so delete the column. So again we are working only with the information, only with the data here. You can change the structure of the table. So now we have seen what is a DDL, what is a DML, and what is a DCL. DCL are usually for permissions to grant, revoke, all those things. The basic usage is done using these two, DDLs and DMLs. So we will be seeing one by one what this means and how are their syntax and how we have to work with that in our software. Now let's go to the chapter and see what is there to do. So they have also written something about SQL. So SQL is a non-case sensitive language. What does it mean? Non-case sensitive means if you write anything as uppercase ABC is same as lowercase abc. They are not two different things. Okay. So if you write this way or that way, both values are taken as 1. Now each statement in SQL is terminated by a semicolon. So after finishing a particular query, so in SQL we call that statement as query. So after finishing the query, you have to put a semicolon. So it means the statements ended and statement is gets ended there, and you have to start with a new statement. Okay. The statement may spread into multiple lines. It will be terminated only when a semicolon appears. So for the understanding of the end termination of the query, you have to use the semicolon. Otherwise, it will show an error in that case. The following queries are used for working with the tables and databases. Before that, you have to know one more topic, that is data type. Let's see what it is. Next topic that we are going to see is data type, which is to be used in the insert statement, and you have to know what is a data type. So data type means the type of data that you are going to enter for a particular row. Okay, example, this is my table. It consists of roll number, name of the student, grade of the student, and age of the student. Okay, these are the 4 columns in my table. So first row, when you enter, already we have done one. Name is Akash, grade is first grade, and age is 6. In such case, you have to specify what kind of data this roll number will be taking up, what kind of data this name will be taking up, grade will be taking up, and age will be taking up. So that when you are going to enter the values, the row should understand what type of data should be entered in your table. For that, in SQL, we are having many data types. So the command that we are going to use is varchar, so variable character. So you can enter text using that. So I have to specify how many characters I'm going to enter. So that is varchar. Next is integer for values like age, roll number, where you are going to use integer values. Okay, for such values. Next one is decimal, for using decimal values. So you have to specify how many uh, how many digits you will be using, and after how many digits the precision will be there, the point will be used. Okay, we will see in detail about this. Next one is date. Date is used for specifying the date, like admission, date of birth. All examples are coming under this date. Okay, so we have not used this date here. So the data types we can see in this text here. Varchar, where you have got this n, you can enter any number of values that you want to, like varchar of 10, 100. It can be maximum of 255 characters. Okay, maximum you can give this many number. So what is the use of that? For example, if you give varchar of 10, you can enter up to 10 characters in this column. Okay. Next one is integer. You specify it using the word int, and it can take up values like this, from minus of this value to, we can give example as 6, 4, and then the value ranges from this to this. It's for our precision, mantissa and decimal. Okay. Date, use the word date for it, which specify your any date, like date of birth, date of joining, any example which takes up the month, date, and the year. Okay, and this example, also when you want your column to be filled with some data, don't give it as null, give it as not null, and this comes under the topic constraint that we'll be seeing later. Constraints. Okay, that is very important. So just know that if you want any columns to be filled with any data, you don't want to leave it as null, give not null in that case. Example you can see here. This is the query of creating a table where not null is the keyword used. Okay, keyword not null is used in such case so that your column item description should be filled with some data. It should not be left as null. Let's do in-text question 23.2. So the first one is Oracle, MySQL and PostgreSQL are examples of what? These are the examples of database. We call this as database software. Okay, database. SQL is an abbreviation of structured query language. Structured query language. Next one is blank is language specifically oriented around the databases. So what is that? SQL is the language which is oriented around blank database. That means what kind of database it is? Relational database, where it uses tables and columns. Okay, next is that blank consists of commands that are used to create, modify, remove objects in a database. As I told you, objects of your database are tables, views. Tables are the basic object of your database. Then comes views and other things are available. Okay, so when you are working with create, modify and remove the tables, how you will create, modify and remove the tables using the DDL command. That means data definition language, where you will work only with the structure of the objects of your database. Okay, each command in SQL is terminated by a semicolon. By a semicolon, you have to write it as SCMICOLON, semicolon. Next is a true or false statement thing. You have to say, state whether the following statements are true or false. MySQL is an open source free software. True, that we have seen in the MySQL topic, where it can be downloaded for free. Okay, and you have seen, to run MySQL we can enter any password. That is false. This step is given there, just go through it. DDL, DML, DCL are 3 different languages. They are not languages. They comes under SQL statements. SQL is a case sensitive language. No, it is not case sensitive. If you write any uppercase thing or lowercase thing, it means the same, so it's not case sensitive. In a SQL, a statement may spread into multiple lines. That is true, we have seen. So we have to end the statement with a semicolon in that case. So we have completed our topic of MySQL, SQL and in-text question. Also we have seen some details required for that. The later videos will be seeing how to do the SQL queries. Okay, thank you for watching, and do subscribe to the channel, give a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Thank you. See you in the next video.